Welcome back to Alien Wisconsin. Today we're going to be talking about the New Jersey drone story. The New Jersey UFO story. Today I'm joined by my friend of the show and friend Stephanie.
Hi.
She is someone who actually has been following up on the story a lot,
Yes.
and it's really nice to have someone to talk to.
Oh my God. I've
Uh,
been
Go ahead.
I've been following this for a month since it first broke, and just watching it get very little press. Everyone I've talked to has no idea what I'm talking about when I'm like, "Have you heard about these craft in New Jersey?" They have no idea what I'm talking about, including a friend who's a journalist. No idea. So it's been great to have Ian to talk to about this because it's a big deal. I think it's a really big deal. I think we're
Well, let's talk about what it is. I think that's a good intro. So, here's what's basically been going on for exactly a month. New Jersey, every night, every single night, has been getting mysterious drones that show up, and often dozens of them. And they fly over suburban areas. They fly over military installations. They fly over what do they call them? Critical infrastructure like
mhm,
power, plumbing, things like
mhm.
that. And they are flying over even the president's golf course.
There's also a situation involving the Coast Guard where a ship was followed by up to 50 of these craft. Um,
And these are big drones, just to be clear. These are not the tiny little drones from Amazon. These are, they've been described as 6 feet or more, some the size of an SUV.
and we say the word drone, that's how they're being reported in the media. They're calling them drones. My feeling is that's a word they're using to try to make people more comfortable with it, make it sound like it's, something someone purchased off Amazon to try and avoid like mass hysteria, as opposed to saying like, these are unidentified craft. We don't know who or what is responsible for them.
Yeah, we don't know if they're a foreign actor. Um, we don't know if they're something even more distant, you
Yeah.
know? Um, but we do know that they're not hobbyists.
Yes.
That's for sure. And
Tell
I,
us how you know this.
okay, so here's how I know this. I'm actually a FAA licensed drone pilot, and there is an enormous number of rules and safeguards for flying a drone at night. And first off, most drones don't match the description. Most drones that hobbyists have are not 6 feet, and they're not the size of an SUV. It's almost impossible to get a drone that large. There are agriculture drones, but then when you go down to the description more, you find out that these drones are flying for 5 to 7 hours. And that kind of battery is unheard of. Like my drone can fly at most 35 minutes. And we're not talking about one or two, we're talking about dozens. So it would take just a remarkable number of hobbyists to do this. Also, the FAA has the ability to kind of shut down satellites. Drones use satellites to stabilize and work with their GPS. And if the US government wants to black out an area for whatever reason, including military operations, or if the president is flying in an area, those are real examples, you can't use their satellites. And if you can't use their satellites, it makes it extremely hard to fly a drone. Many drones won't even take off, they won't even get off the ground. A few can get around it, but it's very rare. These all signs point to these either being military grade drone from a foreign actor or maybe even a US actor.
Well, and something else they've said about them is, people can see them visually, but they're not able to pick up on them like using radar or other technology. So that would absolutely rule out your random hobbyist.
Also, to make it even more implausible, is that the police have been actively searching for where they come from. And we're not talking like one police officer. We're talking about the entire state patrol, and they've been doing this for over a month or about a month. It's just wildly implausible that you could outwit the police and the federal government simultaneously as a hobbyist. So, what are they then?
Let's watch a clip.
You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct?
That's right.
It's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. That's madness that we don't know what these drones are. That's crazy. That's madness that we don't know what these drones are. You're
So I think this clip is really interesting because the FBI is the one who's responding. He's responding to a New Jersey representative, and the FBI tells him we just don't know what they are.
Yeah, I find that really unbelievable.
I can't believe this. Like, so the average person probably doesn't know this, but drones now have essentially like a digital license plate on them. Any person in America or around the world can download an app on their phone, and the digital license plate is projected to phones. It's basically like a Wi-Fi signal. And why this is done is the FAA instituted this policy. So if you saw a drone doing bad behavior, you could, just like if you saw a car doing bad behavior, you could get their license plate and report it to the police. Same thing on the drone. And the idea that they have extremely sophisticated tracking technology. Drones also work with GPSs, so they always tell where they're at. Someone knows where these are coming from.
But you would also think that they would bring in experts in drones, military grade drones, to say, like, have you seen this? What is this? You would think that someone would follow these drones at the end of the night to see where they go. It just.
I think we have a clip about that.
Okay.
Okay, let's play a clip about that.
New Jersey has some of the best detection equipment in the nation, I am told. We have by far the most robust equipment, is what the state police told us. The detection equipment is up, but not detecting. These are 6-foot drones that are somehow evading our detection. They are not being detected. Here's some unknowns. And again, they were very transparent today. So some of the unknowns. The state police says, unknowns. We have no idea where they're taking off from. No idea. We have no idea where they're landing. No idea at all. We have no idea who's behind them because, as I mentioned, they are not state, and we are told it is not federal. We have no idea the drone types, as I mentioned before, that they stay up about 6 to 7 hours. And if you're a drone operator, you probably know that that's a very, very long time. We know that we've gotten close, but when we do get close, the lights have gone dark and they have left the area. And we do know that they are flying, as I've repeatedly said, they are flying over critical infrastructure like reservoirs, Picatinny Arsenal, Trump Bedminster, and our nuclear power plants.
Okay, so they go dark when they're approached, but wouldn't you think as it daylight is approaching, you might try to follow them then? I don't know. Or if you see where they're going, generally, kind of like wait on the other side. If you have kind of a general idea of like where they're coming and going from.
I mean, when we're talking about the U.S. military, you don't need to, pull out some binoculars. They have technology far more advanced. They have radar systems. They have infrared night cameras that are designed to track threats just like this. I have been told, actually, that the newest radar technology actually does a great job at detecting drones. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're not using it in that area, they don't have it in that area, if it's not deployed, or they are using it and are not telling us. I don't know.
Yeah, and you can think of like what our satellites are able to see from great distances. Like, it's just so implausible that they have no idea, can't see a thing. Okay, I get the lights go dark, but it just says it's surpassing all of our technology, the most advanced technology in the world. That's super concerning.
It is very concerning because I don't think it's true. Yeah. I don't think it's true. I think someone knows something. Mm-hmm. I think most Americans see this story and they go, this can't possibly be true. It doesn't pass the sniff test. Mm-hmm. And I think we have a clip about a legislator saying that.
Well, number one, I'm going to call it total bullshit that no one knows what these are. And I think it's a slap in the face to the American people to say they don't know what this is. They can track down a guy that just killed a CEO, but they can't identify what nightly drones are and where they're coming from. I think that is absolutely disgusting to lie to the American people like this, and the truth needs to be told about it. Secondly, if they're telling the truth, then this country is in horrible shape. We're all in danger. I mean, seriously, if our great government can't identify what these drones are, they're flying every single night, that people are sitting out there videoing with their cell phones, then no American is safe. And I have no respect if our government cannot say what these are.
So if we don't know who they are, right? So it's got to be somebody else, or they're just not telling us, and they know who it is. And some people have said maybe it's foreign adversary. What do you think?
I seriously don't know, but I think they know. I think our Pentagon knows. Our Pentagon should know, right? The Department of Defense absolutely should know. And I'm not privy to that information. We're not in control yet. But I'll call them a bunch of liars, and I think they're full of shit.
Because they're saying they don't know. So it's like, if you don't know, then...
If they don't know, they need to resign in shame. If they don't know, they need to resign in shame. That's what I think. And we need people in charge that can know what this is. But I don't buy it.
What do you think?
I think it's terrifying if it actually is a foreign adversary. I mean, they say that it's not, but I mean, who knows? That would be terrifying because that tells us that China or Russia has technology that is far superior to ours, and they can fly in our airspace. They can do whatever they want. There's nothing we can do about it. That to me is terrifying.
One of the other claims that's been made, and I have a clip for this too. We might splice this in, but one of the claims that's been made is that they're not a threat. Multiple officials have said this. They are not a threat. And I'm going to tell you something. As someone who flies drones are a threat. And we know they're a threat for a couple reasons. One is they've been used heavily in the Ukraine-Russia war. One of the real tools that's kind of given Ukraine the upper hand in many battles has been drones. But beyond that, there's a lot of FAA laws because drones are dangerous. Even just a regular Amazon drone that you buy. If you're flying around traffic, even around it, not even in it, and maybe a gust of wind knocks the drone out, it could fall into traffic and cause a car accident.
And when they're saying it's not a threat, what I'm actually hearing is, well, it hasn't done anything yet. They don't know who it is. They don't know what it wants, but they're saying it's not a threat. I mean, that's BS. They just haven't done anything yet.
Well, how could a 6-foot drone the size of an SUV that could fall out of the sky not be a threat? Like it could just hit people like an anvil from the sky. That would be a threat.
Or if it belongs to a foreign adversary, okay, so they've been flying around for a month. Well, what if tomorrow they're like, yeah, we're gonna drop a dirty bomb or start firing at things? I mean, just because they haven't done anything yet doesn't mean that they won't.
It's a very strange problem. Like this is the other part of it is like you've been flying around for a month with these large military style drones, but you haven't. There's two weird things that have happened. One is they haven't, like, as far as we can tell, they haven't fired on us. And also, the other weirder thing is, for the most part, we haven't fired on them. Mm-hmm. Like, the U.S. military is anything but subtle. There's plenty of tools it could use to fire at these drones.
Exactly.
But that might change.
The other thing about it, too, is you would think that if it was a foreign adversary trying to do reconnaissance or threaten us, that it would, do so on the down low. I mean, these are lit up like a Christmas tree. They're not subtle. They're flying low. They want to be seen. They clearly want to be seen. And
it's a very good point, Stephanie. Why would you be doing it so obviously with all your lights on for a month at such a low altitude? Let's just doesn't make any sense.
And, some people have said, oh, it's China because of the spy balloon thing. But then let's think of just how that technology has changed. They went from sending a balloon over, a year and a half ago, to having these super high-tech craft in our airspace. I mean, that's like a huge step up, which makes me think that probably not China.
I mean, even the weather balloons, they came in on the West Coast, as far as we can tell. And they got all the way to the East Coast in 5 days. And we were all over it by day 2. Mm-hmm. And now, in contrast, this is day 30.
Mm-hmm. Although, at the time, the government was gaslighting us about us. They're telling us it was a weather balloon, saying that it was just kind of randomly floating, when in fact it wasn't a weather balloon.
It was a spy balloon.
It was a spy balloon.
Yeah.
It wasn't just randomly floating. It was going over key areas,
sensitive areas,
collecting information. It was interesting too because the White House has then lied about that as well, saying that that wasn't a sensitive situation when it has been reported that yes, in fact, that it was. That's what happened. So stories keep changing.
It's again, it's very troubling. But as I was just saying, is there is no way that dozens of unregulated large drones are safe just by the FAA's own rules. This would violate every rule in the book. Either the FAA is completely wrong in its rules, and I don't think it is. I think there needs to be rules for safe drone use. As someone who uses a drone safely, I think it's important to have those. But this is clearly way outside of the box. This is nothing like hobbyists do or drone professionals do. This is far more pernicious, I think. I was alluding to earlier is that the United States hasn't really opened fire on these things, but that very well may change. Just as Stephanie was coming over here to film this, former and future President Donald J. Trump tweeted on his Truth Social account. Can we pull that up? Let's
Sure.
read that.
Mystery drone sightings all over the country. Can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I don't think so. Let the public know and now. Otherwise, shoot them down.
I mean, you did a great Donald Trump, but
Thanks.
the scary thing is the future president directing people to shoot them down.
Well, you know what I really hope?
I know what you really hope. What do you really hope, Stephanie?
Well, okay, so because I've already expressed my concern about it being China or Russia, I think that would be a terrible, terrible situation. I actually really hope that it's aliens. And not just because I'm interested in aliens and the idea of disclosure. I feel like that's a much safer option. I believe that they've been visiting us for thousands of years. If they wanted to harm us, they've had plenty of time to do so, and they haven't. They've expressed interest in humans when we're shooting up nuclear warheads or, I think that with all the nuclear saber rattling that's been going on recently between the US and Russia, maybe they're finally stepping in and saying like, okay, we're not going to let you blow up the planet. This is ridiculous.
Well, what do you think it is? We would really love to know in the comments section. I'm not sure it's aliens. Stephanie's sure it's aliens, but what do you think it is?
I want it to be.
What do you? Yeah, I'm very curious. This will be an interesting, evolving story.